I am Daniel Dazi. Now, some youth in Salaga community of the Savannah region have deserted the town for fear of their lives after some woman lynched a 90-year-old woman, only known as Mariana, to death. The youth say they fear they would be picked up by the police because they looked on while the lynching was ongoing. Mariana was lynched following an alleged confirmation by a traditional priestess that she was a witch whose activities impede the development of the area. Isaac Nonya has been following the story and joins us with more details. Isaac, we understand the corpse is at the police station. What has the police said about this development, and has any arrest been made?
Yes, there have not been any arrests so far. Information late, and they dispatched their men to the ground only to find the corpse of the deceased, while the youth who perpetrated the act bolted from the area. As we speak now, just a handful of the youth are within Kafaba. And Kafaba is a town adjacent to Salaga in the East Gonja municipality. My interview with the police commander revealed that the deceased was initially accused of being a witch, and a priestess was invited to come and confirm. And she came and confirmed and asked the deceased to be whipped and stoned at the same time. It was during the process that the angry youth were able to lynch the woman and then abandon the body there and left the place.
Isaac, have you spoken to any family member of this woman?
The woman is not having family members readily in town at Kafaba. We're told that she was living with her daughter, who happened to be married to a different town. And after the time that lynching happened, she was not around. And the police are equally tracing to see if they could link up with any family member of the deceased.
Now, Isaac, we've just seen the video of this terrible act, and I must apologize to viewers for the graphic imagery in there. Have you spoken to the youth who are now fleeing the town? Why did they not save the old woman?
Come again?
Have you spoken to the youth who we understand are fleeing the town, and why did they not save the old woman?
You know, the youth are not really available to comment on the matter once everybody's afraid and they're running away.
Right. So they are currently in hiding and we can't make any contact with them?
Precisely. And let me say that this is not the first time this has happened in that particular community. 5 years ago, but luckily the disease didn't.
Isaac, are you there?
And at the same time, the police could not infect
Isaac, pardon me, Isaac. We lost you for a moment there. You said that this is not the first time that has happened, and that someone was beaten like this.
Yes, someone was also beaten, but he couldn't die. And this time, if you look at the video, the perpetrators of this act happened to be women, equally trying to kill what actually happened. After speaking with him, the DCP Enoch Bediakon said that the men he dispatched to the ground should be able to fetch out the perpetrator because they are visibly seen in the video carrying out the act.
Joining us now, the regional commander, as you heard, DCOP Enoch Bediakon has been speaking about it.
The information the police got was that an old woman of about 90 years had been beaten to death at Kafaba near Salaga. Police proceeded to the scene and saw about 90-year-old woman dead in a house. Our initial information gathered indicate that this old woman was alleged to be a witch, and therefore she was tried by, tried by ordeal by a priestess, and was found guilty of being a witch, and therefore some youth beat this woman to death. The body had been conveyed to Tamale Teaching Hospital for postmortem and further investigations.
Has there been any arrest so far?
No, we had this information around 4 p.m. yesterday. We had to convey the body to the police, Tamale Hospital. After that, we are doing investigations to know the actual culprits to arrest to face the law.
Quite the disturbing scene there, and once again we apologize for those graphic images. Elsewhere, the assistant headmaster of the Ejiso Senior High Technical School, who detained 2 students for alleged theft, could be arraigned with the detainees on different charges. Police sources confirm Kofi Appiah spent the night in cells after honoring an invitation to assist in investigations over the incident. He stripped the students half naked and locked them up overnight for allegedly stealing the school's electrical stabilizer. One of them, in an apparent suicide attempt, drank a substance picked from the headmaster's office. He was rushed to the Ejiso Government Hospital after his colleague found him foaming and raised alarm. The student has joined us. Well, let's first of all take a look at what happened from the beginning.
According to school authorities, a taxi driver the 2 students in the evening yesterday trying to scale over the school wall with a hidden item. He arrested and handed them over to the assistant headmaster who the stolen stabilizer. Assistant headmaster Kofi Appiah told Love News he asked the students to strip underwear and lock them up in his office until the next day.
So I was trying to inquire from them where they got it, and they were not trying to tell me the truth. And it was late in the night. School management, the teachers weren't around, headmasters weren't around, and I didn't want to take any decision outside them. So I decided to keep them in. So that the following morning, that is today, when the head comes, and then the other management members also come, then we sit on the issue and then we trash it out. Unfortunately, there was this liquid soap there that they used to clean the office. I don't know what happened, and one of the students took it. And I don't know whether he drank it or whatever. So they called me in the morning and said that he has drunk some of the, what do you call the liquid soap. So quickly we came. He was there on the ground, the hospital, and then we reported the case to the commander, the BNI first, and then the police commander also came in. So right now the other guy, they have taken the other guy to the police, and this one too is at the hospital, and so that is the issue now.
Is it true they were stripped to their boxer as they speak?
Oh, yeah. And I just, they were wearing some white shirts, and then I said you should take the white shirt off. And they were wearing the boxer all right. But you see, the police, I can take you there. The fan was there, the light was there, everything was there. You have everything clean.
So were they locked inside the office for the whole night?
My own office, yes. I locked them in my own office, just for the headmasters to come the following day and the other management members to come, so that we can trash out the issue.
My worry was that anything could have happened in the night whilst you left them there.
I told them that definitely they will urinate. So before that, I asked them to urinate, so that they won't go and then maybe have that problem over there.
One of them drank a liquid hand-washing soap he found in the office. His colleague in the morning to draw the attention of other teachers on campus who rushed him to the Ejiso Government Hospital. We are told by health officials he is responding to treatment, but we were not allowed to speak with him directly. But his mom has been telling us what actually happened.
Mane kane boxer nti abonaso sana akura ne ka kire me
senka akola no bani be na odi ya mutumi loko no e wo dem mutumi loko no wo dem nti ade na wonom ye no wonum ye na wowu ya ade tie wowu.
Reporting for Joy News, Erastus Asaredonko, Kumasi.
Let's get a bit more on this story from Ohiming Teria, who has joined us on the lines. Ohiming, first of all, Erastus just reported that student who drank liquid soap is responding to treatment.
Thank you, Daniel. What we do know is that the student has been discharged from the Ejuso Government Hospital. He was discharged yesterday and handed over to the parents. And according to police, the parents are supposed to bring him when they need him with the other colleague who was also accused of stealing the school's. So I must say, yes, he has been discharged and he's doing well.
Now, the police, we understand, are taking action against the assistant headmaster of Ejisu Senior High School. Give us the details.
It is the assistant headmaster of Ejisu Secondary Technical School, Mr. Kofi Apia, who before yesterday, police extended invitation to him. Police expressed misgivings about his conduct, especially illegal detention of the students in his office, where they were not given the opportunity or facilities like urinary facilities at the office. So police have taken an exception to this conduct. So yesterday, he responded to a police investigation to the Ejuso. We are told that he went to the police station of colleague teachers who actually gave him the moral support at the his statements was taken, but unfortunately he was not allowed to go home. So he was detained overnight till this morning when we are told he has been granted police inquiry bail. But as it stands now, police sources tells me they are building a docket, and based on the docket that they are building, the teacher, I'm talking about Mr. Kofi Apia, the assistant headmaster, and the two affected students are likely to be arraigned on Monday.
Ohiming, thank you very much for those updates from the Ashanti region. Apologies for the slight mishap. Let's go on Zoom now and speak to Franklin Kujo, founder and president of Imani Africa. We'll also speak to Theodore Jegle of the Ghana Hospitality Association. Mr. Kujo, thank you very much for joining us, first of all. This program that government is embarking on, some have described it as simply piling on more debt that Ghanaians will pay later. What's your take?
The debt levels are worrying. In fact, when I saw the figures, I was beginning to ask myself whether these are sustainable. I think we've found a further excuse as a result of the pandemic. Already, our debt even to resources takes some aspect of the economy. The interventions announced yesterday disproportionate when it comes to, if you like, the fine details about how to bring a productive economy back on its track. So I see a lot more welfare-based policies without any real plans of how to make investments out of the very spending we are making. So those are my preliminary remarks.
But surely, Mr. Kujo, and we have seen a 1.2 billion CD program directed at businesses, and this Ghana Cares program is going to see 100 billion investment between 2021 and 2023. Is that not directed towards the productive sectors of the economy?
Well, if you understand what was proposed, it was supposed to be a collaboration between the public and the private sector. So presumably, the private sector would have to be interested in projects that would be to almost to the tune of 70 billion Ghana cedis in order for them to invest. Where the magic wand is going to come from. We haven't seen all the details yet, but I suspect that they may be given a number of, if you like, concessions to be able to invest that staggering amount into the economy. 70 billion is a lot of money. I don't know if we can raise all of that locally. But if the private sector is being asked, we therefore need to ask the private sector. Is it local private sector? Because there's been some harping on the fact that we need to give room to local participation in the economy. I don't know where we are going to pick 70 billion Ghana cedis from this economy. This economy doesn't have that type of money. Otherwise, we need to go in detail and ask ourselves whether we are likely to invite external private investors, which is also not a bad idea, by the way. But that would also mean that then would have lessened our insistence on the local participation in the economy.
Now, Mr. Kujo, on the capacity of the economy to support a 70 billion fundraising, at face value, it may look almost impossible, but government has borrowed about 110 billion since it came to power in 2017. So the question then will be that if what was borrowed from the Eurobond, clearly this economy has had that appetite to be able to give government some significant amount of money. Mr. Kujo, unfortunately, we seem to have a slight technical connection with Mr. Kujo at Mr. Kujo's end. We will come back and complete just to get a clear understanding of what he was saying. His point was that we may not have enough money in Ghana to fund 70 billion Ghana cedis as government aims to do. The question that I actually had to him, and I understand Mr. Kujo is back with us. Mr. Kujo, my question was that government has borrowed about 110 billion since 2017. A large amount of this has been from the local economy. Is this not an indicator that there may be capacity in Ghana?
You're suggesting that the amount that have been borrowed, 110 billion, was all appropriate.
I said a percentage of it, Mr. Kujo.
Not the entire amount of money, but a percentage of it.
That's true.
So clearly, the point really to be made is we are not suggesting that the economy cannot withstand these types of investments. We are only asking about the proprietary of the, should I call it the source? And I'm not too sure we can handle that 70 billion Ghana cedis from this economy. I'm not entirely sure about that. I mean, what's the total capitalization of our bears, right? And so, but by the way, private sector should not be misunderstood to mean only local participation. I was always saying that if the insistence is on the fact that we need to allow local content and local participation in the economy, then it presupposes that the sources of capital must be properly identified. It may as well not be capital all from within the country. Right. But it must be. That's what the point I'm making.
And we have seen in the past, Mr. Kujo, just quickly, the finance minister took that 2.25 billion from Franklin Templeton, that it was a foreign source, but it was brought into the local economy, changed into Ghana cedis, and then lent to government. Is that a route that we could explore this time around?
Yes, I'm always saying that the insistence that there's going to be 100 billion Ghana cedi alleviation program, which may be partly private sector led, is not defined. And if it's not defined, but if it is to the extent that we have international participants in it, then that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I was always saying that it will then fly against our insistence on owning the what I call it, the command heights of our economy. That's all.
Franklin Kujo, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. He is the founder and president of Imani Africa. Let's speak to Mr. Jegle now. Mr. Jegle, you and your members in the tourism industry have been hardest hit by this pandemic. Funds will be available to you. Good news?
To say that's good news.
Mr. Jegle, if you can please speak up. Is this good news to you?
I wish I could say this is good news. Can you hear me now?
Loud and clear, sir.
Yeah, I wish I could say this is good news. but I can't say that, unfortunately. I can't say so because we've had serious challenges with our members assessing the 600 million cedis that was made available to the micro and small scale and medium scale industry through the NDSSI. And so, I mean, the process is all kinds of difficulties and technicalities that as I'm speaking to you right now, I mean, people do not even know the status of their application. Any engagement with the NDSSI, the status of people's application process. Meanwhile, there are others who couldn't apply because of serious difficulties with the online arrangement that the NDSSI put in place. And so, as we're speaking right now, I am informed that disbursement gone to the micro, scale organization. Nobody knows when the others are going to benefit, and for a system that is difficult, one wonders what an additional support to the same agency can do for companies, especially those who are in our sector of hospitality that's been severely brutalized by COVID-19.
Now, Mr. Jegle, very quickly, we understand that from what you're saying, you have had difficulty accessing the NDSSI funds. And this comes as a surprise to me because when the president met with key players of the tourism industry, he did say, especially hospitality, he did say that he's going to ensure that a majority of those funds go to your industry. Is it that you are being looked over or overlooked, or it's that the process is delaying?
The 600 million cedis is actually not strictly for our industry per se.
But the president did mention that he will make sure that players in your industry are considered considerably. I mean, significantly.
That's reflected in the process so far.
Right. Mr. Jegle, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon on Joy News today. We move to other stories, and the First Lady, Rebecca Akufo-Addo, is urging African countries to share data and experiences on their management of the coronavirus pandemic to enable the continent better deal with the situation. She said this after receiving medical supplies from the Chinese government on Wednesday. Hanodame was there.
The Chinese government is giving all 53 African countries medical supplies to help especially mothers, children, people fight the coronavirus pandemic. Ghana got its supplies, which include thermometer guns and face masks, Wednesday. Presenting the items, the chargé d'affaires at the Chinese embassy, Zhu Zin, said the Republic of China is grateful to Ghana for assisting them with masks to authorities in Wuhan, which was the highest hit city at the height of the coronavirus pandemic in that country.
At this critical moment, as China and Africa stand together facing the pandemic, this is a token of friendship from the Chinese people towards African people. So at the height of the China's battle against virus early this year, Your Excellency give your valuable support to the Chinese people by donate masks to Wuhan city, the hardest hidden city at the time, the epicenter at the time. The expression of profound feelings is an indelible deed in the history of China-Ghana relations and always be remembered.
Receiving the medical supplies on behalf of the government, First Lady Rebecca Akufo-Addo said the government can together fight the virus if data and experience are shared.
2020 will go down in history as one of the most difficult for mankind. That a virus will bring the entire world almost to its knees. Ironically, it's also been the year when we realized how dependent and connected our world is. The world has quickly recognized that if we must beat the COVID-19 pandemic, we have to work together. We have to share experiences. We have to engage each other on solutions that will restore normalcy to our world. It is therefore heartwarming that in the midst of this pandemic, Ghana and China have supported one another. Today is another proof of the warm relationship between Ghana and China. I am indeed grateful to the First Lady of China, Her Excellency Ben Liyuan, and the government and people of the People's Republic of China for this donation to protect mothers, children, and youth.
For JoyNews, I am Hannah.
It's the live on JoyNews today with me, Daniel Daze. Coming up in business, tensions at Tiptoe Lane and Nkrumah Circle as traders clash over reopening of shops owned by undocumented foreign retailers. Charles Aite has all the details after this.
Abstract artist Kwesi Ejare is calling on government and everyone to focus their attention on the arts industry in Ghana. He bemoaned the neglect of the sector is killing talents and calls for the necessary measures to be put in place.
In the arts industry, it has really affected us. Even before the COVID itself, we don't actually get any support from the government, and you can imagine the little that we're doing also, this, pandemic has taken part of the whole industry. To be honest with you, it's very difficult to survive, especially in this part of the world where art actually has not really gone down into, like the system. Yeah. And it's quite challenging. To be honest with you, who is going to leave, come and buy painting, especially in this, season?
You've had the opportunity to travel outside and displayed your works. How is the situation like there compared to, our home country? I
must be honest with you. When you do that comparison, it's going to be like a big insult to this industry because they are far advanced. They appreciate art. For instance, I remember one of my exhibitions, a whole mayor, moved his own people to my exhibition site just to have a look at what's actually going on. And I thought it was just going to end there, but he bought a painting. And I realized how these people were so much into the painting. So by and large, I think they understand the art industry. The best way to fight this, again, I would say that we need a good association or a good stakeholder who will put the artists together.
Showbiz here on JoyNews today. Yeah, that'll be all. Daniel.
Thank you very much.